teachers and studio owners, welcome back to the Dance to Learn YouTube channel. My name is Jessica Strong and I am the director and owner here at Dance to Learn. And today I have a really fun video. It's another how-to video. I haven't done a how-to video in a while, so I wanted to pop on and do another how-to video. Today I am telling you how to create a dance lesson plan that retells a story. And since March 2nd coming up is Dr. Seuss's birthday, I wanted to pick a Dr. Seuss story for today's video. Now, if you are new to Dance to Learn, I have an entire program that revolves around literacy and getting children excited about reading, and I call that program Dance Me a Story. And so this video takes what I do in that program by taking children's books and turning them into dance classes. So today we're gonna go inside one of Dr. Seuss's stories. And the story that I picked for you today, Yertle the Turtle. So let's get into how I create a Dance Me a Story lesson plan. So the first step to creating a lesson plan that retells a story is to think about the layout of your class flow. So in my program, in the Dance to Learn program, we always start our classes with a BrainDance warm-up. Now, if you're not familiar with BrainDance, BrainDance is a whole brain and body warm-up that explores 8 patterns of movement that we explore naturally from birth. And those patterns include breath, tactile, head, tail, core-distal, upper, lower, body, side, cross-lateral, and vestibular. So as I go through my Yertle this Turtle story today, I'm going to be thinking about those 8 patterns and figuring out where I can place them in my story. And because we're retelling a story, we might be mixing up those patterns so that they don't necessarily go in that order. That's okay as long as we are retelling the story to help our children retain and comprehend the story better. So after our BrainDance warm-up, we then stand up, and the next part of class we do exploring the concept, where in this example, our concept is the book itself. And so as I'm reading the story, I'm gonna be thinking about different warm-ups that I can do standing up. These could be anything from pliés to tendus to jumps. So anything that we can do right up on our feet, come to standing and get some balancing, twirling, jumping, and other movements happening. Then after my standing warm-ups, I go into a developing skills section of class, and this is where we just practice traveling movements across the floor. So these can be things like chassés, gallops, skips, marches, anything that moves us from one side of the room to the other. And then once we've practiced our skills that we're trying to develop and master, then we combine them all together in an obstacle course. And for today's obstacle course, I'm going to be thinking about the story and how I can retell the story through dance and movement with my obstacle course. So let's dive in to Yertle the Turtle and talk more about how we can turn this fun and familiar Dr. Seuss story into a dance class. So now that I've thought about my dance class and my class flow, I'm going to dive into the story, and as I'm reading the story, I'm going to think about different words, keywords that I can pick from the story that will help me develop my dance class today. So a couple things that I am going to be looking for. I'm going to be looking for the who words. The who means my nouns, the people or things, in this case turtles and characters that are a part of the story. So on this very first page, it says, on the faraway island of Salamissand, Yertle the turtle was king of the pond. So obviously, Yertle the turtle is going to be one of my characters. And when I think about a turtle, I want to think about some turtle characteristics. What are turtles? They're small. We know they're small. We know they have a hard shell, and we know that they swim and they walk on 4 legs. So that tells me a lot of things about turtles as I start thinking about movements in my head. The other thing that I'm looking for is the where. So that first sentence tells me that they are on the island of Salamasand. Now, I've never been to this island. I'm pretty sure it's a made-up island by Dr. Seuss. But when I think about an island, I know that there is a lot of water, a lot of trees, a lot of green. So I'm going to be thinking about that again as I'm coming up with my dance movements that I want to put together to retell this story. Now, as I am reading, I'm also going to be looking for my action words, and these are my verbs. So these could be words like, let's see, the water was warm, there was plenty to eat. The turtles had everything turtles might need, and they were all happy, quite happy indeed. So there's not a whole lot of action words on that particular page, but we do have a couple pronouns. One of my pronouns is happy, right? And when I think about my brain dance, which is how I start my class, the very first pattern is breath. And so I have to think to myself, can we breathe happy? And of course we can. And that would probably look something like this, where we would breathe in through our nose. But then when we exhale, we're gonna go, ah, because we're happy little turtles. And then we can try that again. Breathe in through our nose. And exhale, ah. And one more time, we breathe in through our nose. And exhale, ah, because we're happy little turtles. And my picture shows them swimming. So I'm also going to think about how my turtles swim. So let's see, on this next page, they were happy until Yertle, the king of them all, decided the kingdom he ruled was too small. I'm ruler, said Yertle, of all that I see. So I'm going to think about my eyes, but I don't see enough. That's the trouble with me. With this stone for a throne, I look down on my pond, but I cannot look down on the places beyond. The throne that I sit on is too low down. So low is a good word for me to pick out. It ought to be higher. Another good word for me to pick out. He said with a frown, if I could sit high, how much greater I'd be. What a king. I'd be ruler of all I could see. So I like high and low. Those are actually dance concepts that we explore in the Dance to Learn program. So we can play around with that, with this idea of something is high versus something is low. Now he says the word look. So again, in my brain dance, one of my brain dance patterns is head tail. And I can move my head all around to look, okay? We also talk about low. So what I'm thinking about in my head is there a dance move or a stretch or something where we can get low? And I'm actually gonna think about yoga for a second. And in yoga, there is a pose called turtle pose. So what I'm gonna do for this part of my story is combine my head with my turtle pose and see how high can we lift our head up. Yeah, we're gonna start low and we're gonna lift up. Don't worry, I will demonstrate this for you. But that is what I'm thinking about on this particular page of our Yertle the turtle. So this is what this part of class would look like for our second warm-up on our second page. So for turtle pose in yoga, what I always do is have my kids start with their feet flat on the floor in front of them and their knees lifted so that their legs aren't flat. And we're gonna take our hands straight up, and what I'm gonna do is bring my hands inside and then put them underneath my legs. And I'm gonna try to see how low I can get. I'm gonna try to bring my legs together, right, if I can, almost like a butterfly pose. And then I'm gonna lay down as far as I can, and I'm gonna peek up my head, because we're Yertle the turtle, and we're gonna look around to see how high we are. And we're gonna come back down. And remember, this is our head tail. So we peek our head up, and we're looking around our room. So I would definitely do a turtle pose for this part of our story to signify the head, tail aspect of my BrainDance warm-up. So now we're on the third page of our story, and on this page it says, so Yertle the Turtle King lifted his hand, and Yertle the Turtle King gave a command. He ordered 9 turtles to swim. I'm keeping that word swim in my brain. To swim to his stone, and using these turtles, he built a new throne. He made each turtle stand, another word that I'm looking for, on another one's back, and he piled them up in a 9 turtle stack. I also like pile and stack. And then Yertle climbed up. That's a nice action word, climb. Yertle climbed up. He sat down on the pile. What a wonderful view. He could see most a mile. So words that I like, swim and climb. He sat down. Stack and pile signifies something high. All right, and I also am reminding myself that these are turtles. So I'm gonna think about, how would a turtle move? How would a turtle climb? How would a turtle swim? So those are all things I'm thinking about as I'm reading this page. And I have a couple ideas, and I'm gonna share them with you, how I would incorporate this into my BrainDance warm-up for a creative dance or even a pre-ballet class. Okay, so for this page, what I'm gonna do is a core-distal stretch. So if you don't know BrainDance, core-distal just means that we're gonna start towards our core, so compacted in, kind of like a turtle. When you think about a turtle going inside his shell, and then I'm gonna stretch everything out, and I'm gonna peek my arms and my legs out and reach really high and come back, okay? So Yertle the Turtle King is gonna raise his hand and give a command, right? Maybe we all clap. Maybe that's our command. So we'll clap, and we're gonna give our legs a big hug, and all of the turtles are gonna peek their turtle heads and arms and legs out of their turtle shells. 1, 2, 3, and we expand into our core-distal stretch. Now we have to swim. We have to swim because Yertle told us we had to swim. So we're gonna do a butterfly stretch. We're gonna bring our feet in, and this is gonna be our head tail. So the tail part of our head tail stretch, and I'm gonna add my upper body too. So we're combining some BrainDance moves for this particular part of our story. So I'm gonna swim, and I'm gonna push the water through as I swim towards Yertle. And now I have to climb up. I have to make the turtle stack. So I just did my upper body. I'm gonna add my lower body for the climb, and we're gonna climb up the turtle stack all the way up. And I would probably repeat that 2, maybe even 3 times. And then Yertle, the Turtle King, would get to the top, and he's gonna put on his binoculars, and he's gonna look around and see everything that he can see, because he is the king of everything that he can see. Okay, so the next page of our story says, all mine, cried Yertle. Oh, the things I now rule. I'm king of a cow, and I'm king of a mule. I'm king of a house, and what's more beyond that, I'm king of a blueberry bush and a cat. I'm Yertle the turtle, oh marvelous me, for I am the ruler of all that I see. And then we have the picture with the cat and the cow and the house and the mule and everything. So, really great visuals. So the words that I like here are obviously those noun words. So we have cow, mule, a blueberry bush, and a cat, and the word see, so he can see all of that. So what I'm gonna do for this page, what I am thinking about is some tactile, because we haven't done our tactile yet, and body side and core-distal we're gonna add into this part of our BrainDance. Okay, so Yertle the turtle is now packed up high, so his kingdom is growing, right? His kingdom is getting bigger. So what I'm gonna do a little body side stretch with our straddle, and we're gonna reach our kingdom out one side at a time. So it might look something like this, where we stick one leg out, we grab our toe, and we reach it out, and that's one side of our kingdom. And then our other foot, same thing, we put that foot out and we reach it, and this is the second side of our kingdom. So this is our kingdom, and we're gonna look out, we're gonna put on our binoculars, and we're gonna look at everything that we can see in our kingdom. And so I can use those nouns straight from my book. Maybe one thing I see is my cow. So we're gonna do a cross-lateral stretch. If you're not familiar with this term, cross-lateral just means we are crossing our midline. So I'm taking my one hand on one side of my body and I'm crossing it over to the opposite side of my body. Now to teach this to my little ones, I have them reach both hands across because it's a little bit easier. They're more likely to do more of a body side stretch where they're reaching the same side. So to really get that across, I just have them use both hands because it's a little bit easier for them, especially if they're younger. If they've been doing BrainDance a while and they're familiar with the patterns, then I would definitely do one arm and one leg as you reach. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna ask all my kiddos, what are you the ruler of? What do you see in your kingdom? So we'll put our binoculars on and maybe they say, I'm the ruler of a cat, right? So we're gonna reach up high, we're gonna reach across, and we're gonna see a little cat go running across our kingdom. And then maybe we put on our binoculars and maybe somebody else sees a bird. And so maybe a bird comes flying across our kingdom. And maybe we put our binoculars on and we see, I don't know, maybe we see some flowers growing. So we'll reach up and we'll see some big flowers growing in our kingdom. And so I'm combining this with cross-lateral and some different types of tactile touch, okay? The last thing, because I like to be even, maybe they see a big lake. Maybe there's some water. And so we're gonna brush and make some waves in our kingdom. We're gonna close everything up and we're gonna continue reading our Yertle the Turtle story. So the next page of our Yertle the Turtle adventure says, and all through that morning he sat there up high. So again, that word high, it's a dance concept when we talk about levels, saying over and over, a great king am I. Until long about noon, then he heard a faint sigh. What's that? Snapped the king, and he looked down the stack, and he saw at the bottom a turtle named Mac. So we have a new character, just a part of his throne, and this plain little turtle looked up, and he said, beg your pardon, King Yertle. I've pains in my back and my shoulders and knees. How long must we stand here, your majesty, please? So some words that I like how we have a new character. So now we've introduced a new turtle named Mac. So we want to consider that when we think about, especially when we get into our obstacle course and we start retelling the story. I like how Yertle is up high. He's at the top of the stack and Mac is at the bottom. So if we can do some head-tail connection again, looking up and looking down. I like that idea. And he's sort of talking about, oh my goodness, my shoulders and my back and my knees, right? So our body parts, he's talking about how hard it is to be at the bottom of this big tall stack. So what I'm thinking about for this part of our story is our vestibular activity. So this would be my first part of my standing warm-up. So when I'm thinking about my dance class, we're now gonna come to standing and we're gonna do some standing warm-up activities. So I'm gonna demonstrate what I would do for this part of my story, keeping in mind high and low or top and bottom, as well as some of those body parts that are starting to get really tired and being in a big, tall stack. So let me show you what I would do for this part of our story. Okay, so in BrainDance, if you're not familiar with it, vestibular means that we're gonna do some balancing, some twirling, or even some jumping. What I'm gonna do today is definitely some balancing because we're imagining this big, tall turtle stack, right? And we're thinking about I'm at the bottom of this big, tall turtle stack, so I'm gonna be looking up while Yertle is gonna be looking down. So what I'm thinking for this is some nice plies with a cambray port-de-bras forward, and because Yertle the turtle is the king of this salamissand, we're gonna do some tendu passes like we have like a crown on. Even though Yertle in the story doesn't have a crown, it's still gonna make us feel like we are the king of the pond. So what I would do for this is I would stand up tall with my hands on my hips and my smiles on my lips, and I would do a couple plies where I say, oh my gosh, this stack of turtles is so heavy, as we bend and stretch. And Yertle the turtle, he's gonna look down at the very bottom of the turtle stack, and he's the king. So we're gonna do a tendu passe, tendu and close, and then our other leg, tendu and passe, and tendu and close. And Mac's gonna look up, and maybe we put our hands up and we say, please, this turtle pile is very, very heavy as we finish. Silence, the king of the turtles barked back. I'm king, and you're only a turtle named Mac. You stay in your place while I sit here and rule. I'm king of a cow, and I'm king of a mule. I'm king of a house and a bush and a cat. But that isn't all. I'll do better than that. My throne shall be higher, his royal voice thundered. So pile up more turtles. I want about 200. I'm gonna keep reading, so I'm gonna add 2 pages for this next movement because I like some of the words that are on this page. So it says, turtles, more turtles, he bellowed and brayed, and the turtles way down in the pond were afraid. They trembled, they shook, but they came, they obeyed. From all over the pond, they came swimming, another action word, by dozens, whole families of turtles with uncles and cousins. And all of them stepped on the head of poor Mac. One after another, they climbed up the stack. So what I like about this one is we have action words. Again, we have swim, right? So turtles swimming. We have they climbed or they stepped up on the head of poor Mac, and they climbed up the stack. So this might be where I start thinking about my developing skills section where we travel across the floor. So our plies and our tendu passes, that was our standing warm-up where we stay in self-space and we practice some balancing or twirling or jumping dance moves. But now we're starting to swim and we're starting to climb and we're starting to hear some more of these action words. So we're gonna do a developing skill. Now what I'm gonna do, the first one that I would probably do traveling across the floor, I can't demonstrate this here unfortunately, but the first developing skill that I would probably do is a chassé across the floor, and that would signify the turtles swimming. So the first dance move we would practice would be chassés towards the right and chassés towards the left. That would be our first developing skill. Then our second developing skill, I want to practice some balancing. And so let me show you a prop that I would use for this story. It's some balancing stones to signify the turtle shells. Okay, so I have some balancing stones here. Now these are textured stones, and they're just blow up steps that you can put, but I liked these because they looked like turtle shells. They do sort of compact with weight on them. What I don't like is the bottom is a little, I don't know if you can see that, it doesn't lay flat on the ground. We still use these for our turtle shells, but I have linked some other ones in the description box down below for you to try out that are a little bit, I haven't tried them personally, but they appear to be a little bit flatter and more sturdy. and those could signify the turtle shells. And what I would do is lay these out in a straight line and let my dancers practice marching. And that's gonna signify the climbing up the turtle stack, and they're gonna march on these little stepping stones as if they're climbing up the turtles' backs. So those would be my 2 developing skills that we would practice for this page of our story, and I would introduce some fun props for them that look to be turtle shells. So then Yertle the turtle was perched up so high he could see 40 miles from his throne in the sky. Hooray! Shouted Yertle. I'm king of the trees, I'm king of the birds, and I'm king of the bees. I'm king of the butterflies, king of the air. Ah me, what a throne, what a wonderful chair. I'm Yertle the turtle, oh marvelous me, for I am the ruler of all that I see. Again, I'm gonna keep reading. I like all those words, but we've already sort of explored all that at this point. So then again, from below, in the great heavy stack, came a groan from that plain little turtle named Mac. Your Majesty, please, I don't like to complain, but down here below we are feeling great pain. I know up on top you are seeing great sights, but down at the bottom we too should have rights. We turtles can't stand it, our shells will all crack. Besides we need food, we are starving, groaned Mac. You hush up your mouth, howled the mighty King Yertle. You've no right to talk to the world's highest turtle. I roll from the clouds, over land, over sea. There's nothing, no nothing, that's higher than me. But while he was shouting, he saw with surprise that the moon of the evening was starting to rise up over his head in the darkening skies. What's that? Snorted Yertle. Say, what is that thing that dares to be higher than Yertle the king? I shall not allow it. I'll go higher still. I'll build my throne higher. I can and I will. I'll call some more turtles. I'll stack them to heaven. I need about 5,607. So this is where I would start doing a obstacle course. So what I'm gonna do is when I set up my obstacle courses, I like to use props to give the kids a visual cue of what's gonna happen next. So because we developed 2 skills or practiced 2 skills today, we practiced chassés, that was swimming, and then we practiced the marches on our turtle shells, and now we have a moon that's rising. So I'm gonna add that at the end of this obstacle course. So to signify the swimming, what I'm gonna do is lay 2 objects. I like to use jump ropes, but you could use pool noodles, you could use tape on the floor that's parallel, but something that creates a tunnel for the dancers to travel through. And we're gonna do our chassés traveling through those jump ropes or those pool noodles or whatever that tunnel is that you give them. Then I'm gonna have, because that's the turtles swimming, then I'm gonna have my turtle shells, and they're gonna do their marches climbing up the turtle shells, okay? Then for the moon, I might use a hula hoop and put that on the floor after the turtle shells, and inside that hula hoop, they're gonna make a moon with their arms, so a nice high fifth, and they're gonna rise up high on their tippy toes to signify they're higher than Yertle the turtle, so high up on their tiptoes, and they're gonna do a beret turn like they're the moon floating in the sky. And that is what I would use for this page, or these pages, I should say, of our story when Yertle the turtle notices there's something else that's higher than him. And that releve, which means to rise, indicates that the moon is higher than the stack of turtles. But as Yertle the Turtle King lifted his hand and started to order and give the command, that plain little turtle below in the stack, that plain little turtle whose name was just Mac, decided he'd had enough, and he had, and that plain little lad got a little bit mad. And that plain little Mac did a plain little thing. He burped, and his burp shook the throne of the king. And Yertle the turtle, the king of the trees, the king of the air and the birds and the bees, The king of a house and a cow and a mule. Well, that was the end of the Turtle King's rule. For Yertle the king of all Salamasand fell off his high throne and fell plunk in the pond. So the words I like for this one is he fell, right? He fell. I like burp in that it shook the throne of the king. So burp and shook, and then he fell and went plunk. So those are the words I like. So we're gonna add on to that obstacle course. So we're gonna do that first round of the obstacle course, stopping with the moon. And then we're gonna do it again, but at the end of the obstacle course, so our second time that we go through, I'm gonna add a spot where we can signify something happened and the stack shook. I would probably do just a jump, like a plie saute, to signify, uh-oh, little Mac at the bottom of the pond, he burped and that shook everything. So we'll do maybe a plie saute, which if you're not a dance teacher or if you're not a ballet teacher, plie saute just means to jump. So we would jump, and then to signify falling, maybe when we jump, we'd reach up and we'd jump all the way down to the floor and come into like a little turtle crouch position. And for the plunk, we would do like a little frog jump. And that signifies, oh no, Yertle the turtle, he fell and he plunked in the bottom of his Salamasand. And then our story ends with, and today the great Yertle, the marvelous he, is king of the mud, that is all he can see. And the turtles, of course, all the turtles are free, as turtles and maybe all creatures should be. And I would end the story there, and then we could probably do a fun creating free dance session at the end of class, and maybe we could explore different, there were a lot of concepts in this book that we could explore. We could explore levels. So maybe when we dance, we could be swimming turtles and we could practice our chassés, and when the music stops, we could be King Yertle high on the throne, and maybe we practice a releve with our arms up, or we could be, you know, Mac at the bottom, the lowest turtle in the stack of turtles, and they could practice that turtle pose, or they could do their frog jumps, something that indicates low. So we have those ideas of levels, so we could play a free dance game that signifies that. Another thing was weight. So we could explore concepts of weight, like at the top of the stack, it's nice and light because Yertle doesn't have anybody standing on his back. And at the bottom, it's a little bit more heavy, so we could explore some weight concepts. I also like the underlying idea of Yertle the turtle, which is that, you know, we shouldn't be ruled by one person. We shouldn't be ruled by a king. We should all be free to make our own decisions. No turtle wants to have 500 turtles stacked on their back. So a fun game that I think can really signify and teach the moral of this story would be follow the leader. And you could call it a fun game like follow Yertle or follow Mac, whoever you want them to follow, and give each dancer some parameters so they could all make a big turtle stack by lining up. And maybe, you know, you have the turtles march around the room following whoever the leader is, and then the next time they're gonna skip, and then the next time they're gonna gallop, and then the next time they're gonna leap. Whatever dance moves you want to do, that would actually be a really great way to develop some skills, is just an easy follow the turtle game. But those are just some ideas for the creating portion of class where you sort of bring everything together and end the class on a creative self-expression note for your dance classes. All right, dance teachers and movement instructors, I hope that you found today's video helpful. So just to recap the steps that I go through to dance out a story or dance me a story is number one, remember your class flow and think about your class flow as you're reading the story. Number two, pick out those descriptive words that are going to help you put your story together. So those are the who or your nouns, your characters in your story. So in our example, Yertle the turtle, Mac the other turtles. Also think about those descriptive words that describe an action, such as swimming or climbing. And then lastly, think about the words that describe maybe some of your concepts that you explore in your dance classes, like levels, sizes, weight, tempo, all of those underlying concepts that we strive to learn in our dance classes. Then put them all together throughout your class flow as you read the story so that you never have long pauses where you're not moving and dancing. And that is how you can turn a storybook into a dance class. I hope that you guys liked this video today. If you did, you can let me know by giving it a thumbs up. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know if there's another story that you would like me to explore or share how I would turn it into a dance class. So if you have a favorite, let me know in the comments down below. And also, don't forget that I am celebrating and rewarding and thanking my followers here on my YouTube channel with prizes. So if you are engaging with me and my content by leaving comments, I will feature a comment on my upcoming videos, and if your comment is featured, you will win a random prize. And I am just gonna put all of the names of everybody who comments in a prize wheel, spin the wheel, and that one lucky winner will win a random prize from me and Dance to Learn. So if this is your first time here and you are not a subscriber, I do invite you to click the red subscribe button down below, as well as the notification bell, so that you never miss an upcoming episode. And again, my name is Jessica Strong, and I am the creative director and owner here at Dance to Learn, and I hope that you have a wonderful week and happy dancing. Bye.